Good morning as I speak to you live right now. Now, if you're listening to this, the Howard Eskin Show, at another time, it may not be morning, but whatever. It is the another fine day, and this show is all, well, it's me and you. People have requested, when are you going to open it up for calls? When are you going to open it up for calls? Well, I'm going to do that today, and I might do that many Saturday mornings. When we get into football season, Mark Lawrence will join us to take a look at the football because I know all those people that want to bet those games will be there. But let me first tell you that I say we, are lucky enough that this show is presented by Stillwell Financial Advisors. And if you want to do something with your wealth or your money, or you want to, you want to do something to help kind of set you up better for the future, Jeff Stillwell can and will help you. He might get into talking a lot of sports because he's one of those regular guys, but it's important that you just talk to him and see where you can go. 732 343 0813. That's 732 343 0813. Stillwell Financial Advisors, the presenting sponsor of the Howard Eskin Show. All right, there's going to be a lot that we're going to talk about. Let me set it up first, and I'm going to I want to tell you about our other fine sponsors on the Howard Eskin Show. There's a lot to talk about today, and I want you to be a part of it. I see some people have already made some comments. You can link in. It's just, I love these people. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. And good morning. Good morning. And there's a Rich good morning. There's a James good morning. There's a King reference by Mark, and there's a Happy Saturday by another Mark. But whatever, here are the topics that we can discuss today. There's been a lot made of sports talk radio and the decline of sports talk radio over the last week, when I didn't even know that it was going to be subject matter. But when I was on Dan Cilio's, when I was on his podcast and his show, the subject came up and it became national news with a national media service. And then other people started talking about it. I had Craig Carton on the other night. He talked about it, and he agrees with me that it's just not the same. That the talent isn't the same. But your thoughts, you don't have to forget about my thoughts. My thoughts are going to be part of what we talk about. Your thoughts, one of the subject matters, your thoughts on the state of sports talk radio today. But you'll be happy to know that my former station, WIP, thought one of the, there was a poll. They made a great subject. What deodorant should you use? You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. Or a certain deodorant. Should you use a certain deodorant? Really? Really? Okay. All right. So, as just by that, we know the state of sports talk radio is in desperate help of talent. And I'm not talking about my son. I think he's talented. People say, oh, you're talking about your son. No, but there's a lot of holes in the windows there. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, and if you want to talk about it, the Phillies. Really, are they good enough? When we're doing the show, the Phillies played the first game of their series against the Padres. And after they scored, what did they score? 11 runs against San Francisco in the final game. And against 7 of those runs was against a pitcher that shouldn't even be in the big leagues. But they can't score. I said to my producer, I said, the Phillies are going to score 2 runs the next game. You watch. Sure enough. I mean, I was right around 2 or 3 runs, and they scored 2, both home runs, both solo home runs, left 7 men on base. They just don't make contact. They don't hit with men in scoring position. Are they good enough? No, I don't think they're good enough to get to the World Series. Are they good enough to make the playoffs? Yeah, possibly. They should make the playoffs. They better make the playoffs. So that's another one of the subjects today. Bryce Harper is another subject today. Everybody, all these kiss ass media people, where they kiss, 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 kiss. Oh, Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper, Bryce Harper. The writers need Bryce Harper to be good, so they hope so they hope that they can write about him and people will read about him. Bryce Harper's a nice player now. He was a really good player, but he's a nice player now. But is he good enough? And this was a subject or a topic that I brought up, and I asked Craig Carton, and we're going to hear about it from Craig Carton. Right now, is he a Hall of Famer? I'm going to make some comparisons that you will not like because you like Bryce Harper wearing the Fanatic headband and the Fanatic shoes and, dancing with the Fanatic and, doing all those things. Is he a Hall of Famer right now? I don't think he's a Hall of Famer right now. Good player, but not a Hall of Famer. Talk about the Sixers. I have so given up on Joel Embiid and Paul George. And I know somehow the Celtics are going to be good. They're going to miss Tatum, but they're going to be good. But we can talk about where the Sixers stand. And the Eagles begin camp within a couple of weeks. And obviously, we'll talk about the Eagles. Also, before I get to what I'm going to give away today, I want to talk about our wonderful, I call them our partners. They're our sponsors, but they're our partners. And one of which, there they are. You have Cut the Cord with Jason, Piaza Property Pros, Audi Westchester. And right now at Audi Westchester, and I stopped over there the other day. I had fun. I had fun just talking to the people. And even though I don't need a new Audi right now, but it's fun going over there looking at cars. And right now, the new 2025 Audi A3 Quattro is only $439 a month, or the new 2025 Audi A5 Sportback, only $529 a month. All you need is $2,500 down, plus taxes and registration fees, and you can lease a new 2025 Audi A3 Quattro or Audi A5 Sportback, 36 months, 7,500 miles. And you just stop by. You don't want to call them. You want to go out and look at the cars. And you're going to look at some really nice cars. Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Special offer is not going to last much longer. 2025 Audi A3, $439 a month. The 2025 Audi A5 Sportback, $529 a month. Check it out, AudiWestchester.com. And I know it might be late to start building a pool. There's still in July, you got half of July, August. September is really not a summer month, but you may want to start the process now with Piaza Property Pros. If you want a new in-ground pool, they can help you out. They are experts at that, but they're also experts after 25 years of experience, and they don't subcontract. They're also experts, excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance. They can do it all, and they do it well. And that's the important. It really is an important issue. Trust Piaza Property Pros. You can trust them to do exceptional things on time within your budget. Here's a number: 610-566-2608. 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation or check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. And you want to save money. And who doesn't? You don't want to overpay for cable anymore. You want to cut the cord with Jason. Jason offers an incredible service. He'll save you money on your monthly TV and internet bills. Now, here's what people who have hired Jason have to say. You see right there, Mike L., if you're watching it. I saw Cut the Cord with Jason on Howard Show. After years of wanting to get rid of cable TV, I finally did it. Jason came to my house, explained everything, set up the home screen to what we needed, and even hooked up my sound bar in the basement. Jason was awesome. That's Mike L. from Northeast Philadelphia. People love to cut the cord because they love to save money. For more information, give Jason a call, 215-801-5858. That's 215-801-5858. All right. You can join the show by clicking on the link. You will see it, the link you can click on to join the show, and we can talk about these subjects. I want to know your opinion, the state of Sports Talk Radio today. And it's, I posted a comment from Craig Carton on my social media, and you can check that out if you want to, if you haven't already seen it. I see somebody, Danny, your old station has been unbearable to listen to. Be glad you're not there anymore. Well, the way things happened were wrong. They did me wrong. There was no reason they should have done it other than they need money, because the radio business is not the same business model. You don't get, sponsors really don't get the same value that they used to at Sports Talk Radio. So that's a problem. Their business, and they want to always charge more every year, and I don't know that they give you more every year. If I see somebody that's ripping somebody in the morning, I don't want to put that out there. I'm not going to name names, because I just don't want to do that. Mark Petro, I understand, Mark, but you can put it out there on the comments. I see Scott Myers, radio is dead like the NBA. Well, the NBA is dead, but I want your opinions about Sports Talk Radio today. Before I get to a caller, and I hesitate going to the next caller, but yeah, you got to give him his chance. The Phillies they leave men on base. They don't make contact. They only score, not only, but they score without making, they have trouble scoring if they don't hit home runs. It's just, I see a comment about one of the promotions at WIP, which is, it's a snooze fest, but whatever. It's just, they're trying, but they're not trying hard enough. But Phillies. All right. So here's what I'm going to say about Bryce Harper, and then we're going to take a call. Right now, is he a Hall of Famer? And I'm going to make some number comparisons. Dave Parker, who was a really terrific player, it took over 20 years for Dave Parker to be voted in the Hall of Fame, not by the regular vote. I think it was either the Veterans Committee or a second committee that votes on players to get into the Hall of Fame. I'm going to make a comparison here. All right. Bryce Harper's played 14 years. Now, Dave Parker played 19 years in his career, and Bryce Harper will get to those 19 years, get past those 19 years. But Dave Parker hit 300 6 times. Bryce Harper has hit 300 for a season 3 times. Is he going to hit 300 again? I don't think so. All right, that's one of the stats. 100, driving in 100 or more runs in a season. Dave Parker did it 5 times. Bryce Harper has done it only twice in 14 years. Twice, once with Washington, and only once since he's been with the Phillies. Is he going to drive in 100 runs again? I'm not so, I don't think so. I don't think he's a 100 RBI guy, because he's not going to hit as many home runs. So that's another statistic in favor of Dave Parker. Dave Parker, as I said, hit 300 6 times. Bryce Harper, I don't know if I said that. Bryce Harper's hit 300 3 times, and Parker 6 times. Dave Parker's lifetime batting average, 290. Right now, Bryce Harper's at 281. Is he going to get to 290? I'm not so sure. All right, MVPs. He's equal with Dave Parker. He's actually got one more. He's got 2 MVPs. Dave Parker has 1 MVP, 1 All-Star MVP, and he's won one World Series. So, when you compare those, it's at least as good or not better than Bryce Harper. Batting titles. Dave Parker has won 2 batting titles. Bryce Harper has not won any and will not win any. So, and let me give you hits. Parker had 27, just over 2,700 hits. Harper has 1,733 hits. Will he get to Parker? He better get to. Well, that means in 6 years. Well, no, he's got to get 100 and let's say 120 hits a season. He's been hurt 3 of the last 4 years. So is he going to get there? I'm not so sure. Bryce Harper gets 3,000 hits. He's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's going to get 3,000 hits. All right, I'm going to make another comparison, and you're not going to like this either. I know you're not going to like this. Well, you're not going to like this. You're not going to like this, but you're not going to like this, but all right, I'm going to get to this in a second. Both he and Manny Machado were signed in the same time. Phillies had thoughts of going after Manny Machado, but do we still have Cowboy Jim ready to go on? Okay. All right. Let's hear from, not everybody's going to be a moron and an idiot and a dope, but here's one that's going to start it off today. Cowboy. Hey, nice.
Don't forget handsome. Don't forget handsome too.
Yeah, right. With that hair, nice hair. Once in a while, comb your hair. Even I know it's early for you, but comb your hair.
I finished walking my dog. I'm tired. It's hot out. Okay, give me a break.
Okay. Look, did the dog walk you, or did you walk the dog?
The dog always walks me. Okay. He always walks me. Listen. I remember the days years ago when you were on WIP, and it was intimidating for anyone to call you because you knew your stuff. Your son knows his stuff. But you have other hosts or co-hosts. I think they're just more interested in like pop culture. And I get it. It's slow. It's a slow time. The NFL is what it's all about. So I think people say, oh, a snooze fest. Well, that's because the Eagles, the Cowboys, it's not going on right now. It's just baseball. So it does get boring.
But here's part of the issue. All day long, and because I don't think enough people are as talented, it's the same thing. And Craig Carton, and I posted it, part of what he said when we talked the other day. We talked about a lot of things. He said it just, everybody tries to get this wild opinion, and that only lasts so long. They're trying to get clicks on social media. It's all about clicks on social media. It's not all about clicks. It's about being entertaining. It's about entertaining, informing. Sports talk people don't inform that much anymore. But if they entertain, you can live with it. But I don't even think they entertain you much anymore. And Carton made a point of that too. It's the same thing. It's just not it's not as entertaining as it used to be. So if you had a rate, this is a simple question, even for you. You had to rate Sports Talk Radio today, on a level of 0 to 10, 0 being the worst, obviously, and 10 being the best. Where would you put Sports Talk Radio today?
Today, I would say 4 or 5.
Yeah,
just because there's nothing else really. If you're listening to the radio, I mean, other than some of the really bad music that's on there, I want to just listen to somebody. But then sometimes sports radio just gets to be, it's like almost on a loop. It's the same thing. Andrew Painter, and Crawford, and they just keep going over the same thing over and over. I mean,
part of the problem.
Do some homework. I call in there a lot, but I said, hey, can we talk about the Devin Booker contract? No, we're not talking about that today.
You know what? I will say this about contracts. Contracts, they're so out of hand and they're so outright. I don't care if a player changes teams and he changes, like Kevin Durant going to Houston makes Houston a better team. And that was a trade. It wasn't a signing. Devin Booker signing, they had to sign Devin Booker. Is it a big deal? It's a good thing you're not a host. I don't think that's a big deal, especially in Philadelphia. And then they're in the other conference. If there's somebody that makes a team better in the conference of the 76ers or the division of the 76ers. Like if the Knicks didn't sign Brunel. Brunson. What am I saying? Brunel. Brunson. If they didn't sign Brunson, but he signed, that would be an issue because that's in direct competition with the 76ers. But I don't. Devin Booker's a hell of a player.
72 mil. The issue is $72 million a year. 72.
Well, Charles Barkley had said, and this was a while ago, and he said there's going to be $100 million a year player within 3 years. It's getting close. $70 million is insulting. It's disgraceful, and I agree. The number is disgraceful. Who was it just signed for Oklahoma City? The same thing. I think it was $80 million. Wasn't it $80 million? Yeah. It's out of control. The NBA sucks. The product sucks because TV has to pay so much because all these sports networks, whether it's ESPN now, NBC's into it, they need the content. So they spend a lot of money on the content, and it's good for the players because they share in the revenues. It is a joke. Does it make the game better? No. And it's summer league. Anybody watches a summer league, you're watching a pickup game. It is a complete joke. It's a joke to watch that. But again, it's all about content. Oh, it's summer league basketball. Who gives a damn about summer league basketball? It's a bunch of guys that won't even come close to seeing the light of day in the NBA. Not that the NBA is great anymore, but it's all they're doing is shooting threes. And they make a big deal, the announcers. I've watched some of the highlights. They make a big deal, the announcers, want to dunk. He dunks and there's nobody defending him. I mean, it just, is it hard for somebody to, everybody dunks in the NBA, even in the summer league.
Do you think, all right, okay, let's look at this. Do you think, is it all about, say, Bryce Harper? Is it all about him getting a championship or him trying to play 10 years and make more money? Is that what's going on in sports? It's that they know they're not going to win a championship, but they want to be able to stay healthy and play as long as they can. You look at some players, you're like, they just signed him, who was it for the Sixers who went on to Detroit, so is it trying to maintain to keep on playing, like Harden, who's now got another contract?
How about he got another contract, 2 years?
Okay, so it's not about the championship. It's about how long can they keep playing?
Well, in today's world, the players are about the money. They really, when Joel Embiid signed, you could just mark it down. The Sixers aren't going to win a championship because he got his money. He's lucky if he plays 50 games this year. I would be surprised. He got $62.5 million. He's not going to get another contract, but he got his money, and that's all that matters. Paul George got 4 years. He got his money. That's all that matters. It's just, and in Embiid's case, the fact that he won an MVP, as Carton said, he was gifted an MVP. Jokic was the MVP that year. He won an MVP. He's going to, in his mind, he believes he won a championship because he was on the team that won the gold medal. He didn't really contribute to the gold medal. He was on the team that won the gold medal.
It's sad. It's just sad. It's a sad state.
It really is. It really is.
But you got people still going down to see the Sixers, and you're like, why are you still going down there to see them?
Well,
I don't get it.
They lost a lot of season ticket holders. Well, they lost a lot, and the salespeople when they call it, well, if they declare Embiid as unfit, unhealthy enough to play, they get his money off the cap. Yeah, but they still have to pay him, so they still have to spend the money, whether it's off the cap or not. So they're going to sign another guy for $40 million. So $100 million for one position. No, it's not happening.
No,
it's terrible.
All right. I got two more quick things. Do you think umpires should be held accountable after that debacle in San Francisco with the Phillies? That umpire, the balls and the strikes, and you think they should be held accountable?
I'm gonna make a point about that. I know Phil Cuzzy. I haven't sent him a text because he doesn't need me to tell him to not worry about it. Is he accountable? But he called it the same way for both teams. So he called it the same way. And were they borderline? Here's my point. If you have two strikes, and this is where Bryce Harper can't complain, and he complains in his own quiet way. If you have 2 strikes, you have to protect the plate. So if the ball is close or borderline, whether you think it's a strike, players were good enough to just foul it off to give themselves another pitch or another chance. Don't let the umpire make the decision. If it's close, you got to protect the plate. That's just, and you already know that, some of his calls are borderline calls. You already know that. So it's his responsibility and any other hitter's responsibility to protect the plate. So that's my opinion about that. But Phil Cuzzi was a really good umpire. I don't know if he's still a good umpire. People point out that he's 69 years old. That doesn't mean you can't see. So the players got to stop complaining about the umpires.
All right. And the last thing I want to say is those San Diego Padre uniforms last night are a joke. That is the worst thing in baseball.
They're all a joke. All these Friday uniforms are a joke.
These City Connect.
Hey, the Boston Red Sox wore green.
It's ridiculous.
Where are the Boston Red Sox green? And the Phillies uniforms, I think that Friday night uniforms at home, I think they're a joke too.
People probably get them for free. That's why they're walking around wearing them. So
no, people pay for them. That's
I don't know.
Joke.
Well, that's
all right. Somebody said he's on a flight to L.A. today, and he's hoping you're not on. I'm paraphrasing. He's hoping you're not on that flight.
Well, I'm talking to you, dope. That means I'm not going to L.A.
Okay, all right, because you would have to leave this morning.
I would. Well, I'm not. It's weekends. I don't work weekends.
Oh, okay. You shouldn't work at all. But that's all right. All right, get out of here.
Bye, handsome. Bye, handsome.
Yeah, all right. Take care of your dog. Make sure you give the dog some treats for walking with you. Anybody that's seen him walking with you. All right, I said after I was done with that genius, and you're welcome to chime in too. I'll read the comments that this is not fair. Mark Petro, don't even have umpires back there. Let them sit there. Not all of them have a fat ass. That's not right. In the dugout and use the robo. I don't want robo umpires. It's just less complaints, but I want some of that. It's just somebody responded to my comment about close pitches. Dead on. RG, dead on. Lee Goldberg loves the City Connect uniforms of the Phillies. I think they suck. They say nothing about the Phillies. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The state of uniforms is a disaster is another comment by RG. They're just trying to sell more product. I'm going to, somebody here wants to defend the umpires. Well, I'm going to defend him too. Hey, listen, if an umpire's not having a good day, if an umpire not having a good day. So you got to take that. You got to take that into account. I do not want robo umpires. All right, I'm going to make the comparison. I made the comparison with Bryce Harper and Bryce Harper and Dave Parker. I'm going to make the comparison with Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper and Manny Machado were signed the same year. They were both free agents the same year, right? Okay. And that was 2019 for the 2019 season. 2019 season, the Padres got, and Manny Machado didn't want to come here. The Phillies thought about Manny Machado, but he didn't want to come to Philadelphia. He wanted to go. I guess he obviously wanted to go to San Diego. Since 2019, you look at Manny Machado's numbers. Home runs, 32, 16, 28, 32, 30, 29, 17. He's got more home runs than Bryce Harper since both of them were signed. More home runs. I believe he's got more hits than Bryce Harper since he signed. Okay. 2020, nobody's going to have a lot of hits. 2019, 150. 2021, 157, 172, 140, 163. So he's probably got more hits. I think he's got more hits than Bryce Harper. Manny Machado is a better defensive player at a different position. Bryce Harper's done a nice job at first base, but I don't know if I mentioned it. Dave Parker was a better right fielder because he had a better arm than Bryce Harper. And Bryce Harper was a good enough right fielder, good enough. But Manny Machado is an excellent defensive third baseman. So it would have filled a need that the Phillies feel that they want to upgrade right now. This is another question I didn't even plan on. Would Manny Machado have been a better, and I know people are not going to like me for this because they love to defend. They want to defend Bryce Harper. Would Manny Machado have been a better signing for the Phillies in 2019 than Bryce Harper? And I know Bryce Harper excited people. 24-hour sports talk is his handle. Bryce isn't a championship player. Well, he hasn't won a championship yet. It's just another comment by Lee Goldstein. Goldstein. I hope I'm pronouncing one of them has to be right. Harper's a very good player, but he's not near a Hall of Famer. In today's world, Craig Carton made a comment the other night. Let's hear what Craig Carton had to say when I had him on the podcast, him talking about Bryce Harper and his thoughts on Bryce Harper. And the question was, is Bryce Harper a Hall of Famer?
We're going to make the argument, great, when he was 38, he had 25 home runs. But the fact that he got to 400 and maybe beyond, is that enough to get into the Hall of Fame? I think he's borderline. I understand why Philly loves him because he's adopted the city. He's doing cheesesteak reviews. He's, calling into WIP, all those things that, people that do have a say in the Hall of Fame or have a vote are going to fall in love with. The fans, obviously, fall in love with him because he's like a man of the people. He's doing cooking videos this offseason, to try to be, more, blue collar, I suppose, despite the contract. But there's no denying he has been a great baseball player at his best. And at his worst, yeah, he's been disappointing. I've always felt, and this is not about Bryce Harper, in all sports, we've kind of watered down the Hall of Fame in every sport.
Yep.
And to me, that's like, it's not an issue. I don't begrudge guys getting in. I never have any ill will. If Joe Blow gets in and we all agree he's not a Hall of Famer, well, now he is. Good for him. Like, I don't care. I don't yell and scream at the mountains. Oh, my God, I can't believe so-and-so got into the Hall of Fame. But you can't argue that the Hall of Fame has not been watered down in every sport because it has been. And, I view it this way. If throughout your career there was never a point where we said you are undeniably one of the best players in the game, then you're not a Hall of
It's Scott Rowland's going into the Hall of Fame this year. Is he a Hall of Famer? No, he's a very good player. But was he a Hall of Famer? No, he's not a Hall of Famer. But the point is, because there's less and less people, I guess, and they want somebody to be at the induction ceremonies every year. Unfortunately, they waited too long for Dave Parker, and he passed away. At least he got to know that he was elected to the Hall of Fame before he passed away. Passed away shortly after, I guess a few weeks ago. But they just need people out there, people from different cities, and Scott Rowland's not a Hall of Famer. There's a lot of people that have gotten in. If Scott Rowland's a Hall of Famer, Larry Bowa is a Hall of Famer. I mean, let's face reality. Larry Bowa, people don't realize he had a lot of hits. He was a great defense. He was next to Ozzie Smith was the best defensive shortstop in Larry Bowa's era. But next to Ozzie Smith, Larry Bowa was the second best defensive shortstop. I know Dave Concepcion, who played for the Cincinnati Reds, if people don't remember, won the Gold Glove every year because the Reds always were winners. They won championships. But Larry Bowa should be in the Hall of Fame. If Scott Rowland's in the Hall of Fame, if Bryce Harper gets in the Hall of Fame, but Larry Bowa has no shot now. But if Bryce Harper gets in the Hall of Fame, Larry Bowa should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, he wasn't that kind of hitter. I agree. And Bryce Harper is a good player. Right now, he's okay. I mean, this year he's okay. He's hitting like under 260. He's got 10 home runs. If he hits 20 home runs this year, that would be I don't think I don't know. He might get to 20 home runs. I see Mark Petro says, when is Pete Rose getting in? That I think he's eligible again in 28. Unfortunately, he's passed away as well. The Hall of Fame, is watered down. It's watered down. So you don't have the great players. And I mean, there's some great players there, and injuries cut down, like Mike Trout. Mike Trout's more of a Hall of Famer, even though he really is more of a Hall of Famer than Bryce Harper is. But he's had some injuries, and his numbers have declined. But nonetheless, regardless, let me check Mike Trout's numbers. His numbers, because of his injuries, have declined. But what a great player Mike Trout is. Now, you look over years, because he hasn't played a lot of games over the last 4 or 5 years. But when you look at his numbers, he's got 50 more home runs than Bryce Harper. Obviously, he has about the same amount of hits as Bryce Harper. He's not an average hitter. Well, actually, he was an average hitter for a time there. Let me see how many times his batting average. Actually, he hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had 6 times where he's hit over 300. His numbers led the league, different numbers. He's a Hall of Famer, even though his injuries have declined him. And I hear people talk about, well, Mike Trout may not be a Hall of Famer now. I'm going to tell you right now, if he's not a Hall of Famer, I'd be disappointed, because he is a Hall of Famer. All right, let's. You can chime in about. I know people don't like my take on Bryce Harper. Hey, Bryce Harper, to the fans love him because he kind of panders at times to the fans with the fanatic gear and all that kind of stuff that he wears. But he's not a Hall of Famer right now. He's not a Hall of Famer right now, and his numbers don't compare to other people. Actually, if he's a Hall of Famer, then Manny Machado's a Hall of Famer, because Manny Machado's had better numbers in the last 6 years. All right, the Sixers. The Sixers are going to try to tell you that they have, and there's going to be people out there. That's the one thing that I'm critical of my son. He just can't, because Daryl Morey's nice to him. He just can't see through the fake Embiid and Daryl Morey being a fraud. I don't know how the Sixers are going to win when you have your 2 highest paid players playing 50 games a year. That's basically what Paul George has averaged a year for the last 6-7 years, 50 games a year. Joel Embiid is always going to be hurt. Is he going to be ready for the start of the season? The fact that he can play basketball with his son is fine. I saw a video out there playing basketball with his son. That's great. That's great. All right. One thing, and I'm going to get into the Sixers, and I want to talk about your thoughts about the Eagles, and you can chime in about that. It's going to be hard to win a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl is one thing. It's going to be hard to get to the Super Bowl in 2 straight years, and not because they're not a good team. The Eagles are a very good team, but their schedule's tougher. Teams are coming after them. Teams are going to get better this year, but we will talk about that. But before I do that, I want to tell you our winner. We had a winner last time of the Oakley Sunglasses. We had a winner because they answered the question correctly. And the question, as I remember it, was how many times or where did he have Jalen Hurts ranked among quarterbacks. Between what numbers? It was between 8 and 11 in the NFL. Lee Goldstein, you are a winner of our Oakley Sunglasses. Congratulations. And thanks very much for participating. I will have a question. With something that was said on this show. And maybe I'll just think about, well, I'll come up with that. I'll come up with something to win the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate this week. I will come up with something. And the winner this week will win a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. Thanks to Jeff Stillwell, the fine gentleman and fine company, Stillwell Financial Advisors. That is the presenter of the Howard Eskin Show, because Jeff Stillwell knows his stuff, can help you financially with your wealth, can help you invest, can help you and do a lot of things. I had like a late breakfast, early lunch with him a couple of weeks ago. I learned a lot just sitting and talking to him. We talked a lot about sports because he's that kind of guy. Great guy. Check him out. Check out Stillwell Financial Advisors, 732-343-0813. All right. Before I get to the Sixers and the Eagles, I want to tell you about Audi Westchester. And right now at Audi Westchester, the new 2025 Audi A3 Quattro is only $439 a month. $439 a month. You know, I said earlier, I was out there the other day and I had fun. I don't need another vehicle because I'm good. I'm good with the Audi that I have. Good with the Q5 that I have. I'm good with those vehicles. However, I had fun just looking around, and you're going to have fun looking at the A3 Quattro, $439 a month, or the new 2025 A5 Sportback for only $529 a month. All you need is $2,500 down plus taxes and registration fees. And you can lease a new 2025 A3 Quattro or A5 Sportback, 36 months and 7,500 miles per year. Good. I just stop by. You can have some fun. You know, it gives you time to think about it, but you can have some fun just hanging out with the people there. Grab a cup of coffee, some snacks that they have there. And do it all. 1421 Wilmington Pike, Audi Westchester. Don't wait. The offer's not going to last much longer. 2025 Audi A3 Quattro, $439 a month, or the new 2025 Audi A5 Sportback, $529 a month. AudiWestchester.com is where you can check all that out. And you can still build a pool right now. And Piaza Property Pros can do that. But I don't know that you're going to get much use out of it this year. But it's good to make that decision. And you can do it now and schedule something so next summer can be more fun if you don't have that pool and you always wanted that pool. Piaza Property Pros, with their 25 years of experience, they're people that know what they're doing. They build beautiful, beautiful pools. And I've seen different ones that they've built. They have a vision, you have a vision, and they can put it to work with their top-notch craftsmanship and the customer service that they have. They are pros, and that's why they're called Piaza Property Pros. 25 years of experience, no subcontracting. Whether it's landscaping, pool maintenance, fencing, hardscape, excavation, whatever it is you need, they can do it. Give them a call, and they'll work within your budget. 610-566-2608. 610-566-2608. You can get a consultation. PiazzaOutdoor.com. And you also want to save money. I know you want to do that. If you're tired of overpaying for your cable, then what you got to do is cut the cord with Jason. He'll save you lots of money. Incredible service will save you money on your monthly TV and internet bills. And people, he's always gotten great comments, and we've played a few. Here's another one today. Mike L. I saw Cut the Cord with Jason on Howard Show. After years of waiting to get rid of cable, I finally did it. You got to, once you take the leap, you're happy you've done it. Jason came to my house and explained everything, set up the home screen to what we needed, and even hooked up my sound bar in the basement. Jason was awesome, and that's Mike L. from Northeast Philadelphia. People love to cut the cord with Jason. For more information and to save yourself lots of money, here's the number to call Jason, 215-801-5858, 215-801-5858. All right, the Sixers. Does anybody really believe they really I see a comment about Oakley's, the winner. He's already selling them. No, you can't. I hope that's not what you mean. You got a pair of sunglasses. You won. Does anybody really believe the Sixers have a chance to get to the conference finals? Really? Does really? Is anybody really believe that? Somebody's asking about the old wrestlers. No, I'd love to get Hulk Hogan on. You got to pin him down. I got his number, but you just got to make sure. Hey, Hulk, we need you at this time. But whatever. Does anybody really believe, or is it? It's not a Ponzi scheme anymore because they're trying to win. But Daryl Morey, he's just the wrong guy to make the decision. And I don't understand how people, and there's less and less and less people coming out to it's season ticket holders that are coming out. They're going to have less attendance, but they'll announce a sellout they'll announce a sellout. Lee Goldstein said he was kidding about selling the glasses. It's just I don't believe they're an Eastern Conference final team. They're certainly not a championship team. It's a mess. They have too many guards. Jared McCain's not. The summer league's a joke anyway. Jared McCain, they have too many guards. I don't know how they fit. Hey, a VJ Edgecomb may be a really good player. He better be a good player at number 3. Maybe a really good player. But Ace Bailey may be a better player. Ace Bailey's doing, and again, it's a summer league. You're playing in pickup games for the most part. So I just don't think the Sixers are there. And I can't believe anybody really is falling into that trap. I see another comment here. RG is Manning, and that would be Sheila Manning. Is Sheila Manning, as I like to call him, because he goes down before there's any contact. Is Sheila Manning a Hall of Famer? I say no. He will make the Hall of Fame because he's got the right last name, and he'll have Peyton pushing for him. He'll have the Manning name. When you look at Sheila, and somebody brought it up, that's why I'm bringing this up now. He had more losing seasons than winning seasons. His record is not over 500. It's under 500. No, it's not. It is 500. His seasonal record is 500. So he's not a plus 500 player. More losing seasons than winning seasons. And because he won 2 MVPs in the Super Bowl, that doesn't make him a Hall of Famer. And one of those MVPs, he only got because of his name. If you can tell me that somebody on defense wasn't the MVP of the game that they beat the New England Patriots, it's ridiculous. Their defense was unbelievable. Their defensive line, whether it was Michael Strahan, whether it was one of the other defensive linemen, Eli Manning was not the MVP of that Super Bowl. So that's how he got 2 MVPs. But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but his name will get him there. I don't want to get off track here because I do want to touch base about the Eagles. They are a very good team. A very good team. Very good team. They're good enough to get to the Super Bowl. But you got to go through 17 more games. And the thing that really benefited them more than anything else. Well, and actually, no, they had some good players. Zach Vaughn played great. Can he play the same this year? Their defensive line was excellent. I can't see why they won't be the same. Won't be the same this year. Their defensive line's good. Their secondary, their corners are going to be really good. And I don't know that Cooper DeJean's not going to play, but they got some people that can play corner. So their corners are going to be good. Linebackers, you got to hope that Nolan Smith, who linebacker, edge rusher, whatever, I think he's going to step up this year. They're going to be a good team, but injuries were important that they didn't have many last year. So on the offensive line, the best in the NFL. Best in the NFL. Lane Johnson had injury, didn't keep him out many games last year. That's the only player on the offensive line where injuries could be a factor. The wide receivers are terrific. The running back, Saquon Barkley, is not going to have 2,000 yards again this year. However, the thing, and it's the past, and Saquon played on turf before. When you have that many carries, there has to be a little concern. I mean, he keeps himself in shape, which is a good thing. The fact that Saquon keeps himself in shape, but he had so many carries. Can his legs and his body withstand that kind of strain again this year? The quarterback's really good. And I kind of agree with Craig Carton that Jalen Hurts is probably somewhere between 8 and 11, closer to 8 than 11. He was Super Bowl MVP, and that's great. But I think their defense really put them in position. But defensive players never get, or rarely get the MVP. I see George Callahan says he's 73 and the best Eagles team in my lifetime. Last year's team was pretty damn good. I don't know if last year's wasn't the best, but they're different eras, different teams. And I think the team that won Super Bowl 52 was a damn good team. Talent-wise, you have to say this team is better because Nick Foles had that game. I don't think a quarterback will ever have that kind of game for the Eagles again. Those numbers were mind-boggling. But it is, I see only 17 teams have made it to 2 Super Bowls in a row out of 59. It's really hard. That's including winners and losers. Yeah, the losers don't make it. Losers were only 1 in 30 or 31 years have made it back. The Eagles won. So you have, I see somebody here, Adam says Saquon should have been in the MVP of the Super Bowl. They love to give it to quarterbacks. So that's okay. I mean, he had a nice game, had a good game. But the defense put him in the position so the offense could just drill Kansas City. The defense really played well. But the Eagles will be very, very good. All right. Before I leave you today, I'm going to have the question. You know what? My question is going to be your opinion. I could have a question, but I could have had a question. Which players do I think have better numbers than Bryce Harper and more worthy of Hall of Famers? Now, my question today, you're going to have some thought and you submit the answers to my website, howardeskin.com. And you can win a Chickies and Pete's, but you're going to work for the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. You should work for it because you're going to go there. You're going to enjoy a meal. Maybe you'll see Pete. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm kidding. I'd rather talk to his son. No, I'm only kidding, Pete. Here is tell me why you think Bryce Harper should be a Hall of Famer or is not a Hall of Famer. I mean, and people with the best thoughts, provoke some thoughts. Why you think Bryce Harper should be right now, should be a Hall of Famer, or you don't think he's a Hall of Famer. You can include that in the same response or multiple responses. And if I deem one as the best, and this will probably clarify the winner even more, and it won't be at random. And there'll be some good ones. What's your argument for Bryce Harper being a Hall of Famer right now? Or what's your point that Bryce Harper is not a Hall of Famer right now and may not be a Hall of Famer? All right. Before I leave you today, a couple of things, and I want to mention this. What happened in Texas is just devastating. I don't like the word horrific because everybody that does news now uses the word horrific. Is probably the most overused word with what's going on in our world and in our country these days. But it was devastating. All those people, I think there's still 160 people unaccounted for, 100 and I think 20 some people that are dead, but which is devastating. But what is also a byproduct of that, and I'm not minimizing the deaths, there's a lot of dogs without homes. And what always happens is Brandywine Valley SPCA always takes in a lot of dogs and cats. There's a lot of pets that now no longer have homes. And Brandywine Valley SPCA is bringing a lot of them in from Texas. So if you find it in your heart and you want to make a donation to Brandywine Valley SPCA, I think they're easy enough to find. BrandywineValleySPCA.com or Brandywine Valley, on any of your social media platforms. So I would urge you to make a donation to help them. So help them, help the pets find new homes. All right, before we go, Philadelphia had an historical event. Historical because of the views. A historical event with the strike of their union, District 33 union. And part of that union collects trash. And the mayor, to say she's the mayor is ridiculous. She's so overmatched in that position as mayor. She so screwed that up. I'm disappointed that the union people didn't hold out longer for more of a wage hike than 3%. She got more than 3%. She gave people in her office, like I saw a story in one of the newspapers, or I didn't see it, somebody told me, like 20 and 25% raise. Their wages weren't high enough anyway for them to accept 3%. And that's what it is. The next 3 years, they get, I don't want to hear about last year. That's done and gone. 3% over the next 3 years. This is not sports, but this is life. For people that are from the Philadelphia area, live in Philadelphia, or want to know about Philadelphia that listen to this show around the world. I have people around the world listen to the show. But I'm going to show you something. This was historic to see what the city looked like in many neighborhoods. Is this unbelievable? Is this just unbelievable? She put those trash bins there. What did she think? They weren't going to get filled up? That's what the city looked like in many areas of the city. Is that just truly unbelievable? For people that aren't in Philadelphia and you haven't seen this, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. So just leave you with a little taste or smell. You can't smell it watching this of Philadelphia. Thanks. I know I'm leaving you with a downer, but just think about this. When they come back and start collecting trash again on Monday, took a while for them to come back, assuming they ratify the contract. Well, whatever. I had to include that just for people that aren't in the area that wanted to see it, because I think it's kind of sad what happened to Philadelphia. I put it in there, and I feel bad for those union people that they didn't get more of a wage increase. But I commend you for the job that you do. I don't commend the mayor because she's done a terrible job running the city. Awful job running the city. But I just wanted to leave you with that. And I want to thank you for being a part of the Howard Eskin Show. We'll announce who our guest will be on Wednesday. Wednesday at 7:30, and we'll have a lot more things to talk about. But you got your work cut out for you to win the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. Is Bryce Harper, why is he a Hall of Famer now? Or why is he not a Hall of Famer now? And you can include both in the same response to my website, howardeskin.com. Hey, Lee, part of the problem is employees should not be allowed to strike. Well, then how do they, the city then has to pay to have that. There's private people that collect trash. You're wrong there. They should be allowed to strike. That's the right of the unions. So I don't want to get into any more of that. I'm not going to talk about it again because I played the video, which John Rogers, 3% doesn't even cover the cost of living each year. You are absolutely correct. It's just, well, whatever. All right. Thanks for joining the Howard. I don't want to dwell on that because that's not a good thing. I want to dwell on the happy things, the good things. And we talked about things that maybe aren't so good. The state of Sports Talk Radio today. Are the Phillies good enough? They don't hit home runs. They don't score a lot of runs. But thank you for joining the Howard Eskin Show as we're live this Saturday. We'll be back on Wednesday night at 7:30, but I'll be posting some things that I'm sure will be interesting for a lot of people. Maybe not everybody, but for a lot of people. Have a great weekend if you're watching this live, or have a great day whenever you're watching this. Take care.